Would you all please join me in the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. We now need a motion to reconvene as the Board of Equalization.
Move to reconvene, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, we are now in the Board of Equalization. We have a consent agenda in front of us. We need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and approved. Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries. We now have opportunity for public comment. Seeing no public comment, we will continue. Before we begin, I want to take point of personal privilege as chair. And I want to extend, Carla, to you, Ethan, and Austin, a thank you for your service. This does not come easy. Your dedication to getting these things tight and right are an example for all of us to follow, and it isn't an easy job. I know when I asked you yesterday that for each one of these appeals, you spend 3 to 5 to 6 hours. And when you start to think of the fact that in order to get to the appeal, you have to prepare each one for our taxpayers. So I just think we owe all of you a huge thank you for your dedication, your time, your service. And it isn't easy to sit there sometimes and know that maybe we're wandering down the wrong path here. But at least we're all trying to do the best we can. So I just want to express that, so when you go back upstairs this afternoon, know that we do appreciate your hard work and dedication to make us all a better county. So with that, let's start with number 1, Carla.
Thank you. Our next appeal is parcel 281.94.02.000. It's between the addresses of 7800 and 7864 South Townsley Avenue in Sioux Falls. It's under the name of TRC West Point LLC. This is a multifamily complex built in 2015 and 2016. They're two-story townhome and apartment mix. There's approximately 141 units in which consists of 16 buildings. It's in an average plus quality and normal condition. It sits on approximately 9.6 acres. The assessment went out at $497,112, which accounts for about $138,277 per unit. This was appealed directly to county board. It did not go through the local board of equalization. The assessors are recommending no change. This property sold in 2021 for $25 million. We're still $5.5 million less than what the purchase price was 3 years ago. We do show some comps. One is an assessment equity comp. 2 comparables are in Lincoln County, and then we pulled 2 comparables out of Minnehaha County for, just to give you a good market analysis. They were not included in our analysis to derive at the 2024 valuations, the sales in Minnehaha County. The 3 approaches to value show, we show per square foot, per unit, and the overall valuation of just the structure only. The breakdown, I will go by just the total assessed value, $117 per square foot. The sales is indicating a market range between $115 to $150 a square foot, and those do include the Minnehaha County sales. Our cost approach, which just are for the Lincoln County assessments only, show a range between $115 and $124. That tight range shows that our assessments are very equal with like properties. We do have a map where the comparable comparables are located. Two of the comparables in regard to the subject's in pink, the two comparables are in blue. And then we also show where the comparables are in Minnehaha County as well. We did receive some income information, although we did not consider that approach to valuation specifically because we had the most current sale price on it was just purchased in 2021. With that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Carla, I noticed what jumped out at me is it said recommend no change. Subject is valued 5.5 million less than the purchase price back in 2021. Could you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Right, so the purchase price in 2021 was $25 million. Our current assessment is $19,497,112. So it's approximately $5.5 million less than what they paid for it in 2021.
What was the reason for the reduction in fair?
There
market
was no
value?
reduction. This is just strictly off the cost approach to valuation.
Okay.
This is the 24 assessment. So the reason why if you're looking at the 23 value versus the 24 value, we did do a land review and the land dropped slightly in that area, just ever so slightly, because of the modeling that we used for land valuation.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Carla. Do we have a spokesperson on the line? No? No? Okay. All right, Commissioners, you've heard from Carla. We have no spokesperson from TRC West Point LLC. What action would you like to take?
Carla, just one question. You
Yes.
indicated they had turned in some income approach information. Was that complete?
This is a company that comes in and fights assessments. That's who appealed. They're an agent for the owner.
Okay.
So the income that they supplied was the agent's income and the
Not this
projected.
property, projected, not
Just
actual.
projected, not actual.
All right, thank you.
And you can see in the highlighted, they included some personal property costs. In South Dakota, we don't have personal property, and it wasn't, they did supply income information, but it wasn't credible information.
Okay, it wasn't accurate, if they're, very good.
I have a proposal.
We go home?
If the chair may have a proposal. And I would move that we uphold the value established by by Carla and her crew, for what better words, for equalization. At the land at 1,154,303 and the building at 18,342,809. That'd be my motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I don't ever like it when somebody files these appeals and doesn't show up, but they knew the time and place. So I'll move to uphold the assessor's valuation.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to uphold the assessor's evaluation. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. For the record, the motion was made by Commissioner Aaron's and second by Commissioner Poppins. Item number 2, Carla.
They are on the phone.
Okay, they are online, all right.
Our
And
next
that's
parcel,
Mr. Allers, are you on the phone?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Okay, we'll be with you in a minute. We'll have our director explain everything, and then you'll get your chance to make your appeal. Go
Thank
ahead.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Our next appeal is parcel number 283.10.06.001. It's located at 5300 South Greystone Avenue in Sioux Falls. It's under the ownership name of Greystone Townhomes LLC. It is a multifamily complex built in 2018. It is two-story apartments. It has approximately 46,100 square feet, or each unit is at 1,213 square feet. It is in an average plus quality, normal condition. It sits on approximately 2.6 acres. The current assessment went out at $4,960,601, which counts to about $158,272 per unit. The assessors are recommending no change. Subject is in line with the comparables. Income and expense data was requested to all property owners to derive at a mass appraisal type income approach to valuation. The same 5 sales are on page 2. One is for an assessment equity purpose. 2 are Lincoln County sales, and 2 are Minnehaha County sales. They are older sales in 2020, 2021. That was our largest amount of sales for multifamily units. There are some current sales, but they weren't until after November 1 of this year. I didn't put those in, just to show that these are the true markets for the last couple years on these multifamily properties. So the assessment per square feet comes in at $99 per square foot, and that includes the land. Our sales is indicating a price per square foot between $107 and $144 a square foot. The cost approach is coming in between $100 and $114 per square foot. We also broke it down by per unit cost, and whatever metric we used, it is below the market and just slightly below the cost approach on our comparables. Ever so close. The map shows where the subject property is located, and that's in the northeast corner of the map. And our comparables are in the southwest corner of the map. Minnehaha County sales are indicated in page 5. We did receive some income information from the agent that's representing the owner. Again, we did not deem this income approach as credible. It was the least accurate of our comparisons since we had several multifamily sales in the last couple years. The applicant also, or the agent also included some personal property. South Dakota doesn't have any personal property. Therefore, we were unsure of why that was included in their income approach. With that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Thank you, Carla. Mr. Allers, it's your turn to respond and make your appeal to the commission.
Thank you very much for your time this morning. So
Excuse
Can
me,
you hear me?
Mr. Gabe, would you give your full name and address for the record, please? I neglected to say that.
Of course, Gabriel Ellers, 150 South 5th Street, Suite 2500, Minneapolis.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The income approach that we provided takes analytics from CoStar, which is a software that pulls real estate data from all commercial properties. And that's how we arrived at our inputs for the income approach we provided. The average rent of $1,400. And then we used the analytics. CoStar was saying that The vacancy for this market is 10.7%, which is why we used just 10% to keep it even. Other income accounts for income that's not directly coming from unit rentals, such as fees and room reservations, common area reservations, things like that. The 33% expense ratio is what we deem a market expense ratio for a fully stabilized, healthy operating property. The personal property is actually, whoever spoke last is correct that you don't tax personal property in South Dakota. And so that's why we're taking it out of the indicated value so that it's not being taxed. So $1,000 a unit to account for appliances and other shared amenities. So it's a small deduction, but it's just something we include because, again, personal property shouldn't be included as a taxable item for property owners. And so, we came out to $118,000 per unit, or $7.793 million indicated value for 2024. Lastly, with the increase in interest rates and capitalization rates, we would have thought the value would go down for 2024, but we did see a slight increase, which kind of triggered the appeal to the county board. That's what I have to say about the income approach.
Okay. Is any other or facts that we should be made aware of, sir?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Commissioners, we've heard from Mr. Allers, we've heard from our director. Is there any action you would like to take?
Mr. Chairman, just want to clarify one thing with Mr. Ellers. Just to confirm, for the record, this is not actual income data from the property.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Allers, is there a reason why you didn't use actual, if you want application of the income approach, why you didn't use actual income numbers from the property?
Sure, yes. We tried to keep it as close to a fee simple valuation as possible. So all of the inputs are what a healthy owner and operator would likely experience as far as rental income and expense ratios and capitalization rates and things like that. That's the only explanation for that.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no further questions, I have a motion.
Okay.
My motion is to uphold the assessor's, adopt the assessor's recommendation.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the assessor's recommendation. Hearing no further discussion, Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries 3-0. Motion made by Commissioner Aaron's, seconded by Commissioner Poppins. I forgot to say that. Next item, number 3 on our agenda. Carla?
I just want to clarify the income approach was for all 3 of these appeals, so that was a total valuation, just to be clear.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Our next appeal is parcel number 283.10.06.004. It's located at 5400 South Greystone Avenue in Sioux Falls. It's owned by Greystone Townhomes LLC. It is a multifamily complex built in 2008 with 18 units. It's one building. It is 2-story apartments. It's an average plus quality, normal condition, sits on 1.09 acres. The assessment went out at $2,366,256, or equivalent to $131,459 per unit. The assessors are recommending no change. Subject is below the comparable sales of the market and cost ranges. Income and expense data was requested by DOE. It was received at the time of appeal, but we felt that the income approach was less credible because of the situations that we just talked about on the previous appeal. We show the same 5 comparables, one of which is an assessment equity. 2 properties are located in Lincoln County and 2 in Minnehaha County. On average, our structure is assessed at $97 per square foot. The sales approach shows, and that includes the Minnehaha County sales, show between $107 a square foot and $144. The cost approach is just Lincoln County assessments is between $100 and $114 a square foot. Show a map of where the subject's located in comparison with the comparables. Income approach sheet is the same sheet that you were supplied with the last appeal. I will stand by for any questions.
Thank you, Carla. Mr. Allers, your turn.
Did we lose him?
Is he on?
Hello?
Mr. Allers?
Yeah, apologies. I picked up my phone and I accidentally hit the end call button, and Carter called me back. So
Oh, very good. Thank
I'm
you.
back.
Don't feel bad.
So we're
Okay.
on to the second one.
Yep, we're on the second one now.
excellent.
I see that, when I look at this, sir, I looked at your appellate's request is identical to what our assessor has put forth.
Yes, I think I only requested reductions on 2 of the 3 parcels.
Okay. So it'd be safe to say that you are in agreement with our assessor on the second item,
Yeah, yes.
okay?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
To adopt assessor's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Aaron, second by Commissioner Poppins to uphold the assessor's valuation. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 3, Carla. Or 4, excuse me. Item number 4. 005.
Our next appeal is parcel number 283.10.06.005. It's located at 5404 South Greystone Avenue in Sioux Falls. It's owned by Greystone Townhomes LLC. It's a multifamily unit consisting of 10 units, 1 building. They are 2-story apartments. It is in an average plus quality, normal condition, sits on .90 acres or 39,071 square feet. The assessment went out at $1,388,128, which consists of $138,813 per unit. The assessors are recommending no change. Subject is in line with comparables. We did receive income information. We used the same cells that we used in the previous 2 appeals. The 3 approaches to value, we're coming in at $98 per square foot. The sales are indicating, including Minnehaha, between 107 and 144. Our comparables, using just the cost of the Lincoln County assessments, are between $100 and $114 a square foot.
And for the record, it looks like he's requesting the same again as what you're,
I just want to look at their PT. That is correct. Not everybody fills that out properly, so we still bring
Yep,
this
yep.
to you.
I'm just checking.
Yes, thank you.
Sir, is there anything you'd want to add? It looks like the form is filled out that you're in agreement, actually, again, with the assessor on the valuation on this property? Did we lose?
I was
Oh,
spoken
there you are.
in terms of total value of all three parcels.
Could you repeat that, sir?
Yes. When I went over the income approach on parcel ending in 06001, I was speaking in terms of the value of all three of these parcels combined. So any arguments about the income approach would be the same for all three of these parcels. I just only applied a reduction to 06001.
Okay, very good.
Given that, Mr. Chairman, I'll move to, unless commissioners have other questions, I'll move to adopt the assessor's recommendation.
And I'll second the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Aaron, second by Commissioner Poppins to adopt the recommendation from our Director of Equalization. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Allers, for your time and your interest.
Yes, thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you. We are now on item number 5 on our agenda, which is Tanner LLC. Do we have that individual on the phone?
There's no notes listed. Oh, he is, very good.
Do we have him on the phone?
He's,
Oh, he's switching him over? Sir, is this Blake?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, you're on the phone. We're going to have you make your appeal here in a minute following our Director of Equalization's comments to the commission. Carla?
Our next parcel is parcel 283.12.09.002. It is located between the addresses of 2700 and 3030 East Bison Trail in Sioux Falls. It's owned by Tanner LLC. It is a multifamily property built in 2020 and 2021. They're two-story townhomes and apartment mix. So there are 174 units total, 88 apartments and 86 townhomes. It's approximately 20 buildings. The square footage total is 247,006 square feet. On average, per unit is 1,420. It is of average plus quality, normal condition. It sits on 15.25 acres. The total assessed value went out at $27,539,289. Per unit cost comes in at $158,272. This appeal was heard at local board. Local board made no change to the 2024 assessment. The assessors are recommending no change. The subject is under the comparable cost value ranges and within the sales of smaller properties. The subject is the newest and the largest property of all. Income and expense data was requested by the DOE but not received. This property did go to the Office of Hearing Examiners in 2024, in which the appellant did, prior to the hearing, did submit income information, but no income information has been supplied for the 2024 assessment year, as requested. The sales, we show one sale as an assessment equity. We have two properties in Lincoln County that have sold, and they sold in 2021. And we also pulled in some sales that happened in Minnehaha County in 2021, just to show the overall market for multifamily units of this quality. The three approaches to value, our subject property is coming in at $98 per square foot, or average at $138,000 $813 per unit. That does include the land. Our sales indicate a market range between $107 and $144 per square foot. The cost range, and just those are the Lincoln County assessments, show a cost range between $100 and $114 per square foot. This- I'm on the wrong parcel? Oh, shoot. I think we were okay up until the three approaches to value. Unless you would like me to start all over. I think I was reading from my sheet, which included the correct parcel.
Oh, I was on O2. I was reading it myself, so.
Let's just keep going.
Yep. So the subject property is currently assessed at $111 per square foot. The sales is indicating a range between $115 to $150 per square foot. The cost is indicating a cost range between $115 per square foot and $124 per square foot. I do want to back up. There is, for this particular one, yes, we are on, they're the same sales. Subject property is located in the northeast corner of the map, and the comparables are located in the southwest corner of the map. The Minnehaha County sales that we threw in are located as directed on the map. With that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Thank you, Carla. Blake, it's your turn to address the commission with your appeal.
Yeah, I guess our first question, could you share
Blake,
with us what?
excuse me, I'm kind of slow on the switch this morning. Would you give your full name and address, please?
Blake Hyde, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or 4615 South Tech Link Circle, Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess the first question, could you share what our 2023 assessment was that we worked on together last year with the group?
Yes, that is on your assessment history, and the board is able to see that that value was $22,544,217.
Okay, so we jumped almost 22% this year.
Was that a
So-
stipulation?
That's our concern. We're a little confused on how one could jump 22% in
Sir,
real estate.
I've got a
Sounding
couple
wrong.
questions for you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you stipulated to a value of how much last year?
22,544,000, I believe.
Okay, so 22 million and change, and then you put in your appeal document that the value of the property now is only 20 million? My question is,
That is correct. Obviously, over the last year here, we've seen our rents decrease and our vacancy increase, and also cap rates in Sioux Falls have gone up as well.
and what is the reason you did not submit your income information to us to verify that?
Well, part of it is a lot of work, and then it becomes public information.
Only once it reaches this level.
Thank you for the answers.
Yep.
Commissioners, anything else, Blake, that you want to bring to the attention of the commission?
The other things we note as far as the sales comparison, using a fourplex versus 174 units in our world, which an appraiser would work, is not realistic. I can't remember the other comparables, but using a fourplex is not comparable to 174 unit properties. So I feel like that comparable should be struck at a minimum.
74 units is income based, right?
So just for the record, to follow up on what Commissioner Aaron said, if I read that in 2023 at 22,544,217, you believe your property value has gone down $2,544,000, if I read that correct.
Yeah, I think it would be reasonable to make the case that it's gone down 2 million versus up by 7 or 5 rather.
Okay.
Sir, refresh my memory from last year. Did you provide income last year that we made the stipulated adjustment, or what was the information presented last year?
I did after this appeal here. Then we met with the folks there in front of you, and we did go through some of the rent rolls and some of the financial information as you just noted.
And are you aware that appeals are only for 1 year, and each year they need to be reviewed? And the similar information needs to get presented to try to support the previous year's adjustment?
Yes.
But that wasn't, the income and information wasn't presented, because if it's presented up in just the office, then it does not become public record. So,
And it allows you to negotiate and potentially stipulate before coming to this hearing.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I wasn't familiar with that. Some of the other stuff we've seen online here for folks that did submit some of their financial information. I mean, it does appear to be public at this time, so we weren't familiar with at what point it is public versus not public.
sure.
Any other comments that you would wish to make?
I don't think so.
Okay. Commissioners, we've heard from our Director of Equalization, we've heard from the spokesperson for Tanner LLC. What actions would you prefer to take this morning?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm not happy, but, I mean, I just want to say this, get this out of the way for the rest of the day. I would appreciate the fact, at least as far as individually as a commissioner, I like the idea of application of the income approach when it comes to multifamily property. I've always been that way for the last 6 years I've been on here. When the Department of Equalization makes these requests to people, I wish they would ask questions first, figure these things out before they come here, because obviously that didn't happen. And I wish they would have turned their information over so we could evaluate that and then potentially negotiate using that information. My other challenge here with this property is there was a stipulation last year that it was worth $22 million. Property values are strong in Lincoln County and in the Sioux Falls metro area. The property did not decrease. What my challenge here again is when somebody comes in and says, well, it dropped by $2.5 million because of our rent rolls, but oh, by the way, we don't want you to be able to see the rent roll information. With me, that's not going to fly. You got to prove up the receipts if you want a tax cut. So for me, Mr. Chairman, my motion is to, unfortunately, because I think with a little better advocacy here, we probably could have got something better figured out, but I'm going to move to adopt the assessor's recommendation.
We have
I
a
don't know if
motion.
I'm going to get a second or not.
I have a motion by Commissioner Aaron's.
I'll second for discussion.
Second by Commissioner Poppins.
And I know the department does everything within their powers. It is hard for me to understand. 1 year we go through the information, and I don't remember this, individually, but obviously we had adequate information a year ago. It's a little surprising that we jumped 20-some% on them.
It's in the recommendation. I mean, in 2023 values, the buildings were still incomplete. There
Oh,
were
20
some buildings that were still incomplete.
So partial
So
this
20
is complete.
2024 is a fully completed complex.
Thanks.
All right, thank you for that clarification.
I guess I don't agree with that last statement from her.
Okay.
I think that's inaccurate. As they noted, I think 6 units incomplete, but those weren't just tossed out. Those units were figured on the cost approach because there was no income approach for those last 2 buildings. So those were figured into the values just under the cost approach at that time. And I think at that time they were 90% complete. So I don't think that justifies the increase as she's suggesting.
So, just to get down to brass tacks here, sir, are all the units, were they all complete as of November 1st or not?
November 1st of,
2023?
yes.
Okay, so both parties agree that as of November 1st, units were all 100% complete?
That is correct.
Okay.
As of 22, what was the completion percentage?
As of 22, we had
There'll be a
9
percentage, there's a percentage.
22.
Okay, bear with me, Mr. Hyde.
So we were 95% complete as far as November 1st, 2022, but those 9 units that weren't complete weren't just thrown out on the valuation.
No, and
They
it
brought
wouldn't have
those
been.
back into the cost of
Yeah,
both.
and they wouldn't have been 0, so,
No, of that 5%, 90% of it was accounted for.
yeah, but the adjustment is at evaluation, 5% of the 22 would be accounted and getting completed.
Yeah, 5% were incomplete, yes.
Gentlemen, we have a motion and a second on the board. Further discussion?
Sir, what was the occupancy rate as of November 1st, 2023?
%85%.
Again, I'm going to encourage to work with the department in the future to present the information. It doesn't have to become public unless, again, we're not able to. And then at that point in time, you could have, correct me if I'm wrong, staff, that you could pull that information and say that it's not to be considered in an appeal and try to appeal on different grounds if you didn't want it
Okay.
public at that time.
That's
It's-
helpful, thanks for that.
Yep.
If not, we're going to call the question here. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. We now move on to agenda item number 6, which is Slate at Harvest Creek LLC.
Yeah. Our next appeal is parcel number 283.21.00.A100. It's located in between the addresses of 5200 and 5428 South Radcliffe Avenue in Sioux Falls. It's owned by Slate at Harvest Creek LLC. It is a multifamily property consisting of 2-story townhomes. It has approximately 119 units or 17 buildings. The total square footage of the complex of the structures is 157,140 square feet. On average, each unit is 1,320 square feet. It is in an average plus quality in new condition. It sits on approximately 8.09 acres. The assessment went out at $18,348,009. That accounts to about $154,185 per unit. The assessors are recommending no change. We felt that this property was equally assessed to like properties. Our comparables were also multifamily properties. This was also heard at the Office of Hearing Examiners for the 23 assessment year. We did write a full appraisal. Prior to the hearing, the applicant did submit some income information, so we did stipulate on that value as well for the 22 assessment year. As of November 1st of 2022, for the 23 assessment year in which we stipulated, only 6 of the 17 buildings were completed. So this was also an incomplete structure. So partial income information was developed and stipulated upon. So the 24 assessment year is the first year we have a full valuation. We do show one sale or one parcel that for assessment equity, 2 properties that sold in Lincoln County and 2 that sold in Minnehaha County. The Minnehaha County sales were not used to derive at the 24 assessments for Lincoln County. On average, the total per square foot value for the subject property is $117. Our sales are indicating a market range between $115 and $150 per square foot. Those do include Minnehaha County sales. The cost approach is indicating a cost range between $115 and $124 per square foot. Those were the Lincoln County sales only. The map shows where the subject property is located in the northeast corner of the map. The comparables are in the southwest corner. And then we also show where the Minnehaha County sales are located. With that, I will stand by for any questions.
Thank you, Carla. Blake, it's your turn.
I guess, yeah, on this one, it's really going to be the same argument we had on the last one. So I guess I don't have much to add to that.
Okay. Thank you.
And our recommendation is going to be the same, just try to work in the future with that, your information, and I think you'll find that they're pretty understanding when the actual information is given, so.
Okay, nope, like I said, we appreciate that. We'll definitely take that into consideration.
Very good.
Is that a motion?
With that, I move to uphold the assessor's recommendation.
Motion by-
Second.
Go ahead.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Poppins, second by Commissioner Aaron's to uphold the commissioner's recommendation. Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Hyde Braley TST.
And I'm actually on the phone right now, so we can just stay on this call if that's all right by you.
Yep.
Yes.
Our next appeal is parcel number 281.60.02.007. It's located at 6209 Collington Circle in Sioux Falls. It is it's owned by Brady Hyde Trust. It is a single-family home built in 2020, has approximately 4,319 square feet, 6 bedrooms, a full basement with 3,518 square feet of living area with a walkout basement, has 4 standard bathrooms. It also has an attached frame garage of 2,004 square feet. The current assessment went out at $1,658,692. This was appealed at local board. Local board made no change, so the appellant appealed this property back to the county for consideration. The assessors are recommending no change to their assessed value. This is over $1 million home. Lincoln County is very fortunate. We do have $1 million home sales each and every year. When you build this type of home, it's very unique and it's custom built to the homeowner. So for us to have as many sales as we did for the 23 only assessment year, I found that, was credible to use or at least show a sales range for this particular property. The cells that we used are located on page 4. When we do when we do a breakdown using the 3 approaches to value, our subject property has an assessment of $384 per square foot. Using the cost comparables is between $327 and $561 per square foot. The market is indicating a market range between $426 and $1,103 per square foot. I do want to make note that on our sales, our subject property is superior to comp number 2, but it's inferior to comps 1, 3, and 4. Some of them are, and the comps are inferior to the subject property, 1, 3, 4, and 5. Comp number 2, that comp is superior to the subject property because of the quality of construction and the age of the structure and some of the special amenities such as pools. Subject property is located in blue on the map. It's in the northern central portion of Sioux Falls, Lincoln County side. The sales that we used as comparables are in red. We did find one sale that was fairly comparable to the subject property that was in rural Lincoln County, but felt it was a good sale to throw in to show the valuation and the assessments. With that, I will stand by for any questions.
Thank you, Carla. Blake, are you or Brady going to be speaking on this issue?
Yeah, I have a couple comments.
Okay. Would you state your full name and address, please?
Yes, Brady Hyde, 6209 South Callington Circle, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 57108.
Thank you. It's
Thank you. We have a couple comments, I guess, regarding the comps. The comp one, it was noted that comp one would be inferior to the subject property, which is my property. That's inaccurate. Comp one is on a golf course, has an elevator. I know the owner of that house. That house is clearly superior to 6205 or 6209 Callington, my home. So that is inaccurate. Comp 2 would also be superior. Comp 3, 4, and 5, I'm not sure about. But Comp 3 has a basketball court, a pool, backed up to a greenway, with probably $500,000 worth of landscaping in their backyard. So I guess Comps 1, 2, and 3 to me would be superior. Comp 4 and 5, you could probably make the case that those would be inferior. So wanted to set that straight. Additionally, when you look at Comp 1, it looks like their assessment is for 51% of the sale value. Comp 2 is for 41% of the sale value. Comp 3 is 69% of the sale value. Comp 4 is 81% of the sale value. And Comp 5 is 51% of the sale value. And then also in some of the data here where it provides the 18 different comps, it looks like the average average percentage of assessed value versus sales price is 66.65%. So combining that with the fact that we went through the same exercise last year and the valuation was like the 138930, I don't see any scenario in which my home value went up 20% year over year. And if mine was assessed at a comparable 66.48% versus the sales price, that would put the sales price up around 2.5, which I'm pretty confident I would not receive today in this market. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Brady.
Thank you.
Commissioners, you've heard from the appellant, you've heard from our director. Questions, comments, reactions, recommendations?
Sir, I've got a question for you. If you were going to put your house on the open market today, what would you sell it for?
I have not done a market analysis, and I don't play in these type of homes. But one up the street just went under contract for around, I think $270 per square foot, finished up across all square footage. So that keeps me somewhere and probably in the high, I don't know, maybe the 1850 maybe.
You know, Carla, you put on here a series of sales that have taken place in '23. And I look at the selling price on each one of these, and I look at our assessed price. I see that the assessed price is, in some cases, far below what the selling price is. And you have a whole series of those. Which
Right,
is-
each one of these homes are very unique, and it's a preference
Yeah.
and taste. It's the,
Well,
you know, the
million-dollar
contemporary
homes.
look versus, you know, whether you want the old Victorian look. They are unique, and our pricing cost manual or valuation service, we have a terrible time reaching the full potential market value on these properties.
Well, I was just-
Our assessments, I mean, he even indicated he would sell his house for more than what we have it assessed at.
Yeah,
And that's just kind of doing some rough math in his head. I mean, he's never had it brokered, he's never had it,
no, but
theater.
we have houses on here, we have at 3.6 million and assessed at 1.4. We have one at 1.4 million, assessed at 911,000. We have one at 1.1 million, assessed at 773,000. We have one at 1.5 million at 800,000. We have 1.1 at 600,000. So when I look at that, one could conclude that the sale price versus what we have assessed property at your ad, sir, is either fair or far below what the market price would be.
Well, and I agree, Commissioner Schmidt. I'm looking at the date of sale on these comps. 9/20/23, 9/20, 10/13, 9/28, August 4th. These are very fresh sales, but the assessed value in some of these instances is literally, I mean, it's sold for 3.6 million on comp number one, but it's only assessed at 1.8 million. There's something wrong with our system. Now, I'm not for tax increase and all that, but I'm just saying, maybe you guys could elaborate on how that happens.
and those are the very, you know, 1 and 2 that are very similar to our subject property. They're the contemporary style homes that are being built today. Those are some of our recent sales, and, you know, this particular property, we weren't able to get into. We left a door hanger, there was no response. Could it be more? It could be if we went inside and found that, you know, the quality and workmanship of the materials are higher than what, and we're very conservative in our general analysis, and if we were able to get into the home, possibly change.
Let me put a finer point on this, though, and I know this probably goes beyond the bounds of this here, but how come, given how fresh the sales are, the assessed value isn't closer to the sales price?
Yeah, if you,
I would say that the reason for that and the reason why you see that within this small analysis of these $1 million homes is because mass appraisal works much better on these cookie cutter type homes where, there's pretty much the same 3 styles of homes, the whole block, all the way around the whole development. When you get into $1 million homes, these are more custom type homes, and the buyer's market is more specific to these types of preferences. I mean, you might have a custom Mickey Mouse room in a house, but does everybody want to buy a custom Mickey Mouse house? It costs a lot of money to make a property like that, but is the market willing to pay for that? Another part of that is, the appellant mentioned landscaping. We don't assess for landscaping. If we see bare lot sales in a neighborhood that are selling, with the value of the landscaping included, eventually we might be able to catch up to that. But landscaping is a very subjective type of valuation, and so that's not something that we're very on top of.
Ethan, how come you guys don't override the mass appraisal system though when you're going through these and say, okay, I've got a very fresh sale that tells you what fair market value what is?
Because we're using a model, a system for all, and that model is saying, based on all these other sales, this is what this property should be worth.
Okay.
And it falls short on these very large homes most of the time. You can see there's a couple of sales where we're over 100%. Out of 18, we're over on 2 of them.
Yeah.
So statistically, we're doing okay on these. But overall, it's only 65%. And
Thank you.
Overall, on the rest of the properties, residential properties are at 90%.
Okay.
I'm,
Thank you.
we allowed some extra time here because I think it's interesting and informative, not only to us, but also to the appellate. But we've had our 10 minutes on this. Commissioners, we need some action to be taken on this particular appellant's appeal.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to move to adopt the assessor's recommendation.
We have a motion by Commissioner Aaron's.
I'll second, but I'm still working on some.
And we
That
have
I
a
might
second by Commissioner Poppins. And please don't take too long because we're trying to stay on schedule.
I'll do my best, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Carla, quick question. What was the percentage change on this property from last year to this year?
Percentage change?
Yeah.
The appellant states 30%. I just want to verify.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you.
Yep.
It's about that. We did have an obsolescence on homes that were over 4,000 square feet. And through these sales, the analysis you just saw was 65%. It wasn't deemed necessary anymore. Had we not removed that 30% obsolescence on these very large one-story homes, we would have been lower than 65% on that sales analysis study.
What I'm looking at and I'm trying to evaluate is on some of our own comparables, the changes seem to be very different. And I don't know why one has got a $50,000 adjustment and the next one has got over $100,000.
It would be that obsolescence that I referred to. It's the size. So the ones that are under 4,000 square feet, you're going to see less of an adjustment on. I mean, we were making quite large adjustments on anything over 4,000 square feet.
You're removing that
It was an
obsolescence.
overbuilt or super adequacy type obsolescence. The market didn't have an appetite to pay for a 4,000 square foot house, but nowadays it looks like they do.
The exact percentage was 29.3.
Yep, 29.
Further questions, Commissioner Poppins?
No, we can vote.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the assessor's recommendation or to uphold that. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes. Motion carries 3-0. Next item on the agenda is item number 8, is Hyde, Blake, and Lindsay, 0.008. Carla?
Our next appeal is parcel number 281.60.02.008. It's owned by Blake S. and Lindsay L. Hyde. It's located at 6205 Cullington Circle in Sioux Falls. It's a single-family home built in 2020. It does have 4,081 square feet, 6 bedrooms. It does have 4 full baths and 2 half baths, full basement with 2,962 square feet. It does have a attached garage that is 1,820 square feet. The total assessed value went out at $1,675,573. This was appealed at local board. Local board made no change. So the appellant appealed back the local board's decision to be heard for county consideration. We do have some $1 million homes in Lincoln County that have sold in the 2023 assessment year. All of these homes are unique to themselves, and the buyers and sellers are all motivated by whatever uniqueness that they may find in this area or style of home. Our 5 comparables that we have show some very comparable properties to the subject property. Overall, the assessment on the subject property we show being valued at $411 per square foot. The cost is indicating a range between $327 and $561 per square foot. The market is indicating a market range between $426 and $1,103 per square foot. Again, these are all very unique type homes. They're custom built to the taste and preference of the homeowner. The subject property is located in blue. It's on the northern tier of the map. The comparables are in red. We did pull in one comparable for consideration on the market approach that was in the rural Lincoln County. With that, I will stand by for any questions.
Thank you, Carla. Blake, are you on the phone?
I'm here, yes. I'm having a little trouble hearing you, sorry.
Okay. It's your turn to address the commission about your property here.
Okay, yeah, again, I believe these are the same comps we went through on the last one. And again, I guess I would just like to point out, like, obviously there's a house with a sale in comp number 2, sold in 9/20 of 23 for $3.7 million, and is assessed at 1,531, which is $140,000 less than my house is assessed for. And then the other one in 9/20 sold for 365, which is just assessed at $200,000 over mine. Which I feel is I guess very inequitable. And I pulled up the, I was on the South Dakota statute. As an owner of real property in South Dakota, you have the right and duty to ensure your property is being assessed at no more than market value, as well as assessed equitably in relationship to other properties. So I guess in order to, conform with that statute, I guess how I look at this, I don't see that anywhere near equitable when the house sold for $3.7 million and is only being assessed at $1.531956. And, mine would have a sales price probably in the high ones and is being assessed at $165,573.
So that's the question. What can you tell me to understand why your house would not sell for anything close to that 3.7 when, we look at, the size of your lot, we look at the year it's built, it's an EFIS system. We look at the number of bathrooms, we look at the finish. Is there something in that property that you know of is way severe or more superior to yours? This is what you need to tell me so I can understand that.
So the 208 Honor Circle, that house is probably the nicest house I've ever seen or been in the city of Sioux Falls. It's backed up to the golf course. It has every amenity you can believe of. It has an elevator in it. It is absolutely decked out, fit and finish. Well past any house that I've ever been in. The house on Regal Court there's a pool in that one. There's a pool house. Again, I'll be honest, that house, I was shocked as anybody when it sold for 3.7. So I guess I feel like that one's somewhat of an outlier. The house on Brentwich, which is comp number 3, again has an outdoor pool, a basketball court. It has a basketball court inside. It's backed up to a greenway with no backyard neighbors, and again has a huge landscaping job. Like I said, there's more recent comps in my neighborhood than these ones being shown. I feel like they kind of just pulled the highest sales prices on that comp number 1 and 2 in the city. There's multiple comps in our neighborhood. Like I said, the most recent one sold for $270 a square foot, which would be somewhat inferior to mine, but that would put my sales price at 1,739. And then if you took that at an average of the
Mr. Hyde.
66% assessed value they're applying across the board, that would put my value at $1.15 million.
Mr. Hyde, Commissioner Poppins, sorry to interrupt you, but I do like to try to work with you. You had mentioned a property that sold in your neighborhood. Do you have the address for that specific one by chance?
2913 Latigo.
And when did that sell? Do you know approximately?
I mean, very recently, I guess. I'd say it's in a matter of weeks.
Oh, we wouldn't have that yet.
Yeah, we,
Didn't sell for 1.3 million. It's under contract.
how does that home square footage, what can you tell me while the staff is looking at that? What about that house is most similar to your house? Square footage, the type of finish?
It's I mean, both. It's 6,441 square feet, which would be about, probably 600 square feet ish, less than my current house. It has a modern finish similar to mine, and also doesn't have any special features as far as landscaping goes, such as pools, basketball courts, all that stuff, as mine does not as well.
So you believe it'd be,
Two-story home.
your ranch, his is a 2-story.
Yep. And like I said, I would, mine is definitely mine's a couple years newer than that. So, they had a, I guess when I look at total sales price per square foot, I think I bring in the total square finish divided by the sales price, and they sold theirs at 200. I would say mine would be, a little above that, maybe $300 a foot for a sales price.
And what did
So
you
I guess
say, what did that house sell for now? Do you think, or what
I
is on the
have-
market at what?
1,305,000.
Do you have any other example, specifically anything that would be a ranch in your neighborhood that,
Oh. I guess not off the top of my head. No, I know there's one for sale currently for 1.2, but I don't have the details for that house.
I do have the sales map brought up in his neighborhood, and
thank you, let me take a look
we
at
do
that.
have,
There just seems to be something wrong here, and I'm trying to look at it, but.
Well, just a comment here, we're on the amber light.
yep.
It is sometimes, these homes, these individuals have the ability to build something that is unique to them and what their particular tastes are. And God bless them. I mean, they can enjoy the fruits of their labor. But sometimes when you have to do what the assessors have to do is to try to find something that fits within that category or fits within the scope of things, it becomes different than the cookie cutter houses that not all are cookie cut. But they have much more comparisons that they can use.
Absolutely. Like I said, and year over year, I guess, a
Right here.
30% increase. Especially when I'm looking at
1.5.
the other houses that sold for 3.7 million, assessed for less than mine. It just doesn't seem right to me.
1.1, but,
I think, is there one, you skipped one maybe?
pardon?
One to the right of that, I think there's.
To the right, this one?
No, which one was Brady?
This one is
Uh,
Blake.
What's one down to that one?
This one's Brady.
Oh, they're both.
We have 10-minute limit, Commissioner Poppins, so if you can wrap that up.
1,000 square foot smaller than what's on the main floor. House is huge.
We need to stay on schedule here for people who are,
It's the size of a house, smaller.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
unless there's any other questions, I'll at least make a motion to get us off the center. I'll make a motion that we adopt the assessor's recommendation.
We have a motion by Commissioner Aaron's to adopt the assessor's recommendation. Do we have a second?
You have a second.
We have a second by Commissioner Poppins. And we're going to have to, if we can, make that decision. I know you have some concerns, Commissioner, but
Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to get through it to try to assist him at this point, but if you feel to reach out to the staff or myself afterwards to try to either prepare for next year, or if you do want to appeal it later, I know staff would be willing, and I know I'm willing to visit with you after this meeting, so.
thank you. Christine, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion uphold. Thank you, Blake, and
Appreciate your guys' time.
adhere to what Commissioner Poppins had to say. Next item
And
on our
I-
agenda.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, I couldn't really hear him. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that for me, please?
We had indicated, we voted to uphold the assessor's recommendation, but I did encourage, because I think in time, there may have been able to make some adjustment. I don't know to what degree. I know the staff would be willing to work with you, and I would be willing to work with you after this meeting if you would like to reach out to any of us. So that was a comment.
Nope, that would be great. I appreciate that. You guys have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the University of Sioux Falls. And we have, is Mr. Thompson on the phone?
He's down.
Okay.
Our next appeal is parcel 280.50.53.8300. It is located at 1601 East 73rd Street in Sioux Falls. It's owned by the University of Sioux Falls. It is a bare residential lot. It consists of 9.34 acres. Our assessment went out at $1,612,591. This was appealed at local board. A local board made no change. The assessors are recommending no change. The subject is below cost and market ranges of comparable sales. We did do a thorough review of all land sales in Sioux Falls for the 24 values. Here you can see a couple bare land sales, 3 in total, that were sold in 2021 and 2022. These were some of the sales that we used in our analysis to arrive at our current market land rates. Currently, the subject property is assessed, those are just 3 of several that we used. We just used those 3 as a comparison for today's appeal. The subject property is valued at $3.96 a square foot. Our comparable cost or assessed values are coming in between $4.50 and $7.87 a square foot. Our market is indicating a market range between $4.60 and $8 per square foot. We do have a tiered land rate for this area, and that's indicated on this chart. So the first tier of this valuation system consists of the first acre, and that's at $9 per square foot. Our second tier, which is the second acre for pricing, is at $6 per square foot. And then we drop down to our excess pricing, which is $3 per square foot. These are the sales that we used in our analysis to come up with the valuations for our commercial properties in this area. The subject property is located here in pink. And our comparables are all right in this area. So they're very similar types of properties that we use to show for our defense on our assessment for the subject property. With that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Okay. Is Mr. Thompson on the phone?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson, can you hear me? Is he having trouble getting on the phone? Oh. Oh, okay, good. Mr. Thompson, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, welcome. We're talking about the property in regards to the University of Sioux Falls. And for the record, before you begin your appeal process, would you give your name and full home address for the record, please?
Yes, I will. My name is Mike Thompson. My address is 1101 West 22nd Street, Sioux Falls, South Dakota 57105.
Thank you. Well, Mike, it's your turn to address the commission with your appeal.
Okay, thank you. I've got 10:20 is the time set for a parcel that ends in A300, and then 10:30 is the time for the parcel that ends in AA00. I think I can handle them both right now. The main question I have is whether I know the ag designation went off of the property in 2022, if I'm reading that correctly. And I wonder if the increase is due to the removal of that designation. If the assessor can maybe answer that?
2022?
Yeah.
No, but it says it right there.
No, it was not ag in 2022.
Okay.
Just need to change the residential to commercial.
Okay.
This is on the one at 10:30, the AA00. That's the one where the ag valuation, it says, was removed in 2022.
Why was the obsolescence removed in 2023?
So the main, on the
Mr. Thompson, hold on a second.
Yes.
We'll give you plenty of time.
You
We're
know, I-
asking a question here that may relate to your previous question.
I don't have the
Okay.
answer in front of me as to why we removed that, but typically, just like I stated on the last case where we removed the super adequacy obsolescence from these overbuilt sized homes, we do a statistical analysis of sales, and if the sales no longer deem obsolescences or adjustments necessary, we remove them. So I would say we removed it from this property and all the other properties that we had applied that obsolescence to.
And what would be the
Yeah, I
underlying
don't
reason
contest
for
the
that to
removal. My
happen?
main,
Current sales
my main
information. There's
point
been a
is,
lot of development and sales around this particular property, and so that's my hunch is that we were looking at sales around there, and they were way over and above where we were at, and that obsolescence was certainly not justified any longer.
Understood. Thanks, Ethan. Mr. Thompson, go ahead, and I'm sorry there. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. That was what I was looking for, at least for USF's president, because of that. The one parcel has a 65% increase, the other one has a 32%. And as I've looked through the documents that support the assessor's decision, I can see the objective bases for the increase. And then when I was going through the packet, it's the first time I've seen that the ag designation was gone. But and I agree that it's not ag land. If the ag designation is gone, that helps me understand the reason for the increase. And I just would like confirmation that that is one of the reasons for the increase.
As far as I can tell here, this property it hasn't been assessed as ag since at least 2021. If I go back, it looks like potentially in 2019 it was probably ag. I'm trying to open that up here and take a look. And you're welcome to put an application in on that property or any other properties for ag. Everybody is always welcome to apply. And, we'll review your application. It looks like in 2019 it wasn't ag either. It just had a very low value, and I don't know if there was a change to the plat.
Okay, so the main reason for the increase then is probably the increased sales activity in that area?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your statement?
Yeah, I'm sorry. One of the reasons for the increase in the valuation would be the higher rate of sales in the area.
Yeah, and there's been development in and around this property as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a road going to and partially through it now, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. That'll take care of both my appeals on the parcels. I appreciate your time, and looking at the packet, it's obvious that your decision is due the legal presumption that it's correct. So, but I wanted to go back to my client and say, and give him some history about how the land has been valued. So this is very helpful for me.
Okay, sure.
I
And
do
just
have
to
a
answer
question.
your other question about why one property saw more of an increase than the other, it's likely due
Yeah.
to the position or placement of these properties. We have different pricing models for corner lots, properties that have frontage to busy streets, and properties that are more of a side lot offset from the main roads, so. but I'm
I do
guessing
have a
there's
question, if I may, sir. What's being utilized with these lots at this present time? What's being done with them? Anything?
Nothing's being done with them now, no.
They're just left idle?
Yes,
Okay.
until we can find a big donor that wants to do something.
I was trying to poke to see if they were by chance in ag production or not, but they're not.
No.
No, they're not.
Okay, very good.
It is now.
Would it help if we put them into garden plots?
If it's ag production, it has potential for a different classification.
Yeah, look
Yeah,
through
I
the
understand.
agricultural classification application and see if you can make it fit
It
those
is not
criteria.
difficult, I will tell you that.
Not after we
Okay.
learn yet.
Yeah, I mean, please reach out to our assessor's office. I mean, I know it's maybe a little cheeky, but I mean, please do that because maybe there are things you can do to take advantage of those things.
I appreciate that.
Commissioners, we're going to.
I would move
need-
to uphold the Department of
Well-
Equalizations.
We got to do this, one moment. We are now working on item number 280.50.53.A300. We will need a motion on that particular one. to begin with?
That was the one I was trying to give you a
Okay,
motion on.
excuse me. Well, I'm sorry I interrupted you, Commissioner Poppins. And
Just
what
trying
would
to
your
stay
what
on
would your-
time.
What would your motion be?
To support the, affirm the Department of Equalization's valuation for this property.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Kristen, please call the roll.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. And now we will go to item number 280.50.53.AA00. We'll need a motion on this particular request or appeal as well.
Mr. Chairman, given the stipulation and the discussion from the prior hearing, prior parcel, I move to adopt assessor's recommendation.
I will second the same.
Motion by Commissioner Aaron, second by Commissioner Poppins. Kristen, please call the roll.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Moves us to item number 11, which is, we're 10 minutes early. I don't know if you can secure the individual for Dakota Spirit.
They're here.
He is secure. Well, wait a minute, sir. We'll call you up.
I'm
Su-
assuming you don't mind if we start early. Thank you.
So Carla will have hers, and then you come up and address the commission. Okay, Carla?
Thank you. The next hearing is set for parcel number 280.51.03.006. It's located at 3910 West 59th Street. It's owned by Dakota Spirit. It is a recreational facility built in 2006. It's of average quality construction, average condition. It has approximately 9,824 square feet. The lot size is just slightly under an acre, so 43,298 square feet. Our current assessment went out at $1,427,046. The assessors would recommend no change as it is equally assessed to like properties. Recent sales of this type of property were not found. We do have some assessment equity properties that we'd like to present for consideration. This was heard at local board, and local board made no change. So the appellant appealed it back to the county for consideration. On page 2, we do have an older sale, but I wanted to highlight first and foremost, the assessment equity of these properties. Comparable number 1 and 2 are both recreational facilities as well, as is number 3. The sales that we do indicate are 4 years old at this point, maybe still relevant for discussion. With that, we can look at the 3 approaches to value. The subject property is currently being assessed at $145 per square foot. The cost range with our comparables that we showed a assessed value range between $133 and $187 per square foot. The market, although old sales were used, and we do show that for transparency purposes, show a valuation between $119 and $120 per square foot. The subject property is somewhere on this map. Oh, I see it right here. It's in the northwest corner of the map, as is our comp 1. Comp 2 is in the northeast corner of the map. Comp 3 is right here. So with that, I will stand by for any questions.
Chairman, any questions? Otherwise, have the
Excuse me.
applicant come up.
Is your applicant can come up here, please, sir? Give your name and your address, home address. Sorry about that. Had a phone call from a grandson.
I am John Fritsch, Robin Fritsch, we're the owners. Our home is 804 West Bayberry Circle, Sioux Falls. And can I give I have some values here.
Sure.
Otherwise, there is an ability to just put it
You can
right
show it on the board if you like.
and it'll show up over here.
You
That'd
see
be
that? Look up at the ceiling there.
Put a little sign up.
You'll see it right in front of you. This is what is
Oh,
going to
that's mine.
appear.
Oh, okay, I got it.
We can enlarge
Okay,
it a little bit.
how's this?
Carter will zoom in on that.
Yeah, could we? Okay.
And now, for your information, we have it on this screen as well.
Okay, so everybody, we can all see it. Okay, thanks. Like I say, there aren't many comparable sales. The data here from the records is a comparable use, and I just think there's so many variables with buildings. So we just like to address the land, and our land they're moving it to $12 per square foot. The first two comparable properties, All American Gymnastics and 7 more, they are very similar use, very, very similar use. All American Gymnastics is located on Cliff and where they're building the brand-new Veterans Parkway. And this gentleman here just mentioned one of the valuations was the idea that high traffic, high visibility, I don't remember the exact words you used, but you said that was one of the criteria. They definitely have it, we don't. 7 more is Wings, which is again, same thing, but it's on 69th Street, another high traffic, high visibility. So comparable use, and we're at the high end of the comparable use, 12 to 836 and then 10. Now, the next ones, I wish, okay, let's just go through. These are all our neighbors, okay? AWI is the company that developed the land for the Social Security building. VBC, that's Van Buskirk, they have the lot just to the east. They're checked at, they have the office building. CATSA is, I was thinking that's Casey's, but Sioux Falls Extended Stay was to the west of us, and there's now a hotel there. There's a large vacant lot between us. And then Veldhuis just put in upscale apartments immediately to our north. And these are all very, first of all, Casey's is right on 57th Street. High traffic, high visibility. We're kind of tucked in, and I'll show you our map when I flip this over. We're tucked in between 59th, and we do have a road that goes through there now.
You
But
don't have Casey's listed up there, just so you know.
Okay, then, but I've got Casey's at 1150 a square foot.
Double check that.
John, I'm very familiar with your property.
Yep.
My daughter used to go there,
Well,
so I know where you're at.
okay, thank you. Well, we're not Casey's.
Well, I've been there too.
You got a better deal at Dakota Spirit, I'll guarantee you that, anyhow. Okay, so, but is Casey's 1150?
Probably close to that.
Okay, well, the idea though, Casey's is on 57th, high traffic, high visibility, and it's not comparable use, these are just comparable. Okay, but the other ones, do you agree with? The other
Yeah, everything else seems accurate.
locations? Okay, thanks for pointing that out. I don't do this all the time, so walk over, back handspring, my wife will help you out, but this is a little bit different, okay? All right, now if I can flip this over, this one here. All righty, now let me get 57th Street at the top. Okay, like this, all right. Okay, these are the properties I mentioned. And again, similar location, and we're at the high end. Right to our north, they're not open yet, but they just developed very, very nice high-end underground parking, Pella windows, but 750. We're at 12. Van Buskirk Commercial Office, they've got 6 tenants. you can't really see it on this, but to our east, you can barely, right about there, that's where Staybridge is. That's a outfit that built a hotel there. And again, okay, I've got Casey's 1150 here. I don't know. But basically, again, our comparable use, we're at the high end, even though they're on high traffic. Like you can see Dakota Spirit here, we're less than an acre. You know, if right on 57th, we're kind of tucked away, one reason we could get that property is because the realtor said, this is kind of a nubbin that is, you're gonna get a good deal on it. And there was nothing there when we built, and it's not a destination. You gotta be coming to Dakota Spirit, you know? You don't drive by and say, oh, look, there it is. So both comparable use and comparable location, we're at the high end, and we just did a calculation, you know, maybe be reasonable, maybe an average of all these, instead of 12, 9, 15 would seem to be sort of reasonable. And that's, you know, pretty much apples to apples as I could see it. Buildings, there's so many variables, but I just think the land, you know, I think we could get a better valuation. Questions?
Any questions for John here about location or about his appeal, commissioners?
I would just go again with the gentleman here, and I can't remember your name, but you did mention traffic, locate, you know, and we're definitely the low end of the totem pole on that one. So, and that's another thing I hope we can take into consideration. Thanks, fellas, appreciate, and ma'am, I appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Further questions? It is 10 minutes, and we need to make some kind of decision here, gentlemen. So what action would you like to take? Do you have a proposal, Commissioner Poppins?
I do.
Okay.
I would take the land and move it to a $9 a square foot valuation. So correct me if I'm wrong, it's 43,298. Is that the square footage? What's the square footage?
Yes.
It is?
Yep.
All right, 298 times 9, the valuation of the land at 389,682, leaving the structure the same.
If that's your motion, I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Poppins to put the land down to 389,682 and leave the building at 400,000, correct?
Correct, and just for the record, I do believe it's worth in the open market, but looking at comparables assessments, I'll give them the adjustment that way. Thank you.
Which brings the total value to 789,682, if my math is correct.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I agree with Commissioner Poppins' comments. I think on the open market, it'd be strong and competitive, but when you equalize it, I think it's a fair motion.
We have a second by Commissioner Aaron's. Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's.
Oh, total value?
Total value should have been 1,297,152.
Thank
My
you for
bad.
that.
I would take that 720.
Yeah, no, she didn't pipe up then.
Yeah, we're fighting for you.
Thank you, Ethan, for that correction.
Please make that, repeat that one more time, Ethan, for the record,
Okay,
please.
thank you.
1,297,152.
Okay, thank you. Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you for coming down, folks. Appreciate that.
Appreciate what you do for,
Yes.
And I know you got a thankless job. I've served on a couple of boards. God love you.
God love you for dealing with young kids.
We love that. Thanks.
We now go to,
Yeah, thank you.
we go to agenda item number 12, which is dealing with Killarney Crossing LLC.
Our next appeal is parcel number 280.55.02.003, It's located between the addresses of 4300 and 4421 West 59th Street in Sioux
Mr.
Falls.
Chairman, just for clarification, is this gentleman here?
No, he will not, oh, he will be.
And that's scheduled for 10:50. I would recommend that we
Oh.
wait until 10:50. Is that?
He's here.
Oh, he is here.
He's here.
See, everyone keeps sitting there and I don't see him. Thank you. That's why I was asking.
Todd's here.
Carla's so tall.
My apologies.
The cavalry is here, believe me.
My apologies. I wanted to make sure I was not
Yes.
missing it.
When
Thank
Todd
you.
arrives, he has arrived. Okay.
The owner
Enough said.
name is Killarney Crossing LLC. It is a multifamily property of two-story townhomes built between 2013 and 2014. It consists of 142 units, 10 buildings. The total square footage is 169,676, which is approximately 1,195 per unit. It's in normal quality, normal plus quality, normal condition. It does sit on approximately 374,815 square feet. That's the land size. Our total assessment went out at $19,355,609. This was appealed to the local board of equalization in Sioux Falls, and the local board made no change. The assessors are recommending no change to the assessed value. We did try to reach out to the property owners and getting some income information prior to the hearing to see if an income approach could be derived. At this point, there's been no income information or expenses from the appellant. We do show one assessment equity that we felt was relevant to the discussion today, along with 2 sales in Lincoln County and 2 sales in Minnehaha County. When we break down the comparison, our subject property is coming in at $102 per square foot. The sales, which includes the 2 Minnehaha County properties, are indicating a market range between 107 and 143 a square foot. The comparable cost which is just the Lincoln County properties, show a valuation between $100,000 and $114,000 per square foot. We did break it up by unit cost as well for your consideration and review. The owner did submit some comps. These were some of the comps that were, I believe, at local board. We do have some comments in regards to the comps. If he brings forth the same comps, we do have some information for you provided to you on our opinion on his comps. The subject property is located in the north central portion on the map highlighted in pink, and the comparables are highlighted in blue. The Minnehaha County comps are located in the map provided for your viewing. We do a breakdown of our properties and how we're doing on our assessments and the median costs on, 3-year averages, 2-year averages. So we do have some additional information provided for you for consideration. With that, I will stand by for any questions.
Thank you, Carla. Todd, do you want to come up and address the commission with your appeal, please?
Absolutely.
Introduce, name and address again.
Todd Ernst, 6204 South Kellington Circle, Sioux Falls.
Thank you.
I'll take that chair down. I never see anybody sitting there. Thank you.
Just in case, I didn't know exactly what you had in front of me. So, what, did you need a copy? I'm sorry. And Carla, did you guys have copies of our analysis as well? I think we submitted. I'd be happy to.
Oh, yes, we did.
I'd be happy to provide that as well. So what I passed out is our analysis, really going and trying to find what we think are great comps
for our property. And in this sheet, we've got photos of the subject property right on the front. The first photo, it looks pretty sharp from the outside. We just did a paint job on the exterior of this property, but it was mainly because it was worn, and we kind of really treat that as just keeping up the maintenance on the property. But you can kind of see the other comps that we've got listed in here, and you can judge for yourself as far as just if you think the quality of what the interior units looks like, the subject property versus the comparable properties. So Clarney Crossing, built in, finished up in 2013, 142 units, and, assessed again this year at the 19,000,003. I would point out that last year, this property was reduced down to the 6,000,346 by this board. And that's our ask, again, would be to keep it at that same level. And I'd just like to kind of show you some of the comparable properties in here and what they're assessed at, and we're just asking to be, generally equalized with those properties. So Prairie's Edge, and I'd point out that all these comps here are located within about 5 miles of the subject property, all within Lincoln County. Prairie's Edge, also a townhome property, extremely similar amenities, is 172 units, and that's assessed at 113,000 a unit. Are looking up the rents that property is asking compared to our rents, we can see that property on a per square foot basis is getting roughly around 12% more rent. So we do the analysis on just a straight per unit assessment and, with the rent adjusted as well. Whispering Woods is another comp that we've had, same year, similar amenities, roughly same size, and we can see where that's assessed at and also getting higher rents. Three Fountain Plaza is another property, very close, only a couple miles away. It is not the townhome style, but we believe that the assessor's office, puts too much, their modeling puts too much credit on what the townhome style units get over just any other general apartment. And I think that can be reflected here in the rents that we're seeing that property is getting on its, per unit and per square foot basis. Now, how we come up with that is we're able to look on the internet. All properties are listed on websites and apartments.com. You can see the square footage in rent prices that are out there. So we believe that we've got a good comp set of, I won't go through the rest of them here, but you can see we've got a couple other comps there, that support that as well. We've got a good comp set of assessed value per unit. When we adjust that, we can see that the numbers that we're coming up with properties that are very similar that we can find out there are much lower than the assessed value. We realize that might be a little unrealistic, so we're just asking for this board to really sort of support what they did last year. We don't think that property values have really increased in this time from last year to this year. So our ask would be really to keep the assessment at that same value. I kind of mentioned that I think that there's a little bit of how the assessor's office puts extra credence on the townhome style, but I would point out that we think that the process isn't perfect. They're going out there and they're able to kind of scour the entire market and find the highest comps that support their case, and we're able to find these comps as well. And what I guess I would just kind of submit for this board to consider is in the interest of really trying to keep, housing affordable, this is the process that's the check on an aggressive assessor's process and an aggressive assessor's, trying to take all those property values up to a higher and higher level each year. So this is the check on that. And I'll tell you how this all works as far as when you're going through. There's two primary factors that have to do with affordable housing. One, making sure that there's plenty of new supply being added to the market so that you can keep supply and demand in check. But secondly, the biggest expense item that we see on property budgets is the property tax payment that's due. It is by far the biggest single line item that's on there. And when you're going through property budgets, you're adding up all the expenses that you're gonna have to pay. You're figuring there's maybe a few nice to haves that you would potentially consider that we'd make these improvements. And then you add up, here's what all the rents are gonna support. And, from there, you're really just trying to consider, are you gonna be able to pay for the expenses, or do you have to have your property managers really push for higher rents? And, what we will typically do is we'll figure normal inflationary expense increases in there, and that's kind of the model we like. Now, assessor's office is asking for, again, a pretty dramatic increase. And again, all we're asking for is saying to support what's been done in the past. We think we have the comps to support it. And we're asking for just basically to kind of keep that same assessed value as last year, because we don't think that property values have increased and the comps still support it.
I appreciate you coming in because I think you guys always rank right up there with giving a very informative educational pitch every year, not just about your property, but what's going on in the marketplace overall. So I really appreciate that. I wish that you guys, the challenge for me is, and I've got to stay consistent here, is I wish you would have submitted your income and expense data. Because my belief is, and I think I've been consistent about this, is multifamily structures and these commercial type properties, like commercial residential properties like this, that's how they ought to be assessed.
So we did contact the assessor's office probably a week and a half before appeals were due. And what we have been willing to do in the past is sit down with the assessor's office and present our financials and not leave them with the assessor's office, because we're worried about stuff becoming in the public domain and so forth. When we reached out, we were told two things. We were told, one, they didn't have time to meet with us. And secondly, we inquired about, just about how many people out there are actually submitting those financials. And what we were told is that it was about 7%, so a very low percentage. And the other question we asked is, well, do you have a formula that you're going to apply to it so that we kind of know what we're getting into? And this is the reason why we came up and we said it's probably not in our best interest to support financials, to just blindly send them to the assessor's office.
Yeah, and we had a appeal earlier where a gentleman said, I think clearly didn't have as much experience in the industry as you did, but the comment that he made was he didn't want the information to become public, and it only becomes public in the event that the county and the appellant can't reach terms, right?
Yeah.
But maybe some of my fellow commissioners have questions, but I do have a proposal to make, but I'll hold off on that.
We've exhausted our 10 minutes, unless there's more questions for Commissioner Poppins or for,
No, I just want to reiterate what Commissioner Aaron's had indicated. It doesn't become public unless you want it to be presented here. So if you're discussing it with the office, it stays in the office until you want to use it. It'd be your discretion, not our discretion, to use it in this testimony. So
It's more than just that is a concern. There's the concern of if they're looking at other people's information, are they accounting for things the same way we are? Are they lying about their financials? All the indications we've seen from this assessor's office is that their policy is to really try to find evidence that supports their case. I mean, and that's what we see over and over again. That's what we see with when we talk to other property owners out there as far as asking, are you submitting financials? Why are you not submitting financials? And that's a huge part of it, is that they just see it as really a benefit to the assessor's office to help support their case.
okay?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
here's my motion.
Yeah.
I move to value the land at $2,021,980, and I move to value the structure at $15,478,020 for a total of $17.5 million.
We have a motion by Commissioner Aaron's, and I didn't get that copy down, Commissioner, but I know you reevaluated two different things, the structure and the land. Do we have a second on Commissioner
For
Aaron's?
discussion, the land stayed the same as a change on the structure. I'm close to actually a number that I had in one I value, but I don't know that I'll be able to support this one. I would have an alternative if this one fails.
What's your number?
What's your number?
16,231,189 on the structure for a total of $18,253 or $253,169 for the whole.
I'll change my motion to reflect that if I get a second.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Give me the structure number again.
16,231,189.
And the land you kept the same?
Land I kept the same.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Poppins, second by Commissioner.
He altered his, just for the
Okay,
record.
so,
He changed his motion, I
Okay.
changed my second.
all
So
right.
that's my motion.
Commissioner Aaron's committed his motion, or substituted his motion to change, leave the structure or the land the same and move the structure to 18, would you give those numbers, please?
16,231,189,
Okay.
$2,021 or $21,980 on the land. Total $18,253,169.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries to support the motion,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
okay? We now go to 11 o'clock, which we are right on with Wells Fargo Bank. Do we have a representative that's calling in on this one?
They recently emailed, we forwarded to Carter, they will be on the phone.
Okay. So,
Yep, they're
are
on.
they on?
Okay.
Okay.
Our
Sir,
next-
with Wells Fargo, what is your name, please?
I'm sorry, were you speaking to me?
Yes, you're on the phone. We'll be with you in a moment after our Director of Equalization makes her presentation, and then you can address the commission with your appeal.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I just didn't hear the beginning. This is Henry Beck, representing
Okay.
Wells Fargo. Thank you.
Carla?
Our
Please.
next appeal is parcel number 281.14.03.001. It's a Wells Fargo Bank located in Lincoln County. We have a year built, it's a financial institution built in 2007 and a good quality financial institution in normal condition. We have a total square footage of 5,040 square feet. It sits on 60,259 square feet. Our total assessed value went out at $1,542,629,000. This was not heard at local board. It was a direct to county. Since the owner of the property is an out-of-state landowner, they can skip the local level and go directly to county board. The assessors are recommending no change. Subject value is comparable to similar properties and is both in line with the cost and the market approaches to value. On page 2, we have some financial institution like the subject property to show an assessment equity. Page 3, we have a couple sales of like structures, one of which is in Minnehaha County, which is comparable number 2. When we break down the 3 approaches to value, our subject property in total is assessed at $306 per square foot. When we break it down to just the structure, it is at $190. We did the same type of breakdown on our cost approach to value. The cost approach to value has the range between $278 and $375 per square foot. Structure only is $189 and $211. The market is indicating a market range between $174 and $485, which is it's a very large range. On the map, you can see our assessment equity properties. The subject property is located in the northeast corner of the map. Our comparables are all in Lincoln County, and they are in the designated locations on the map. The properties that we're using as our sale properties are located. This is overall in all of Lincoln County, so our subject property is at the north central center of the map. Comp 1 is in Beersford. Comp 2 again is in Minnehaha County. Comp 3 is just east of the subject property. With that, I will stand by for any questions.
And to clarify, I know we did miss the address on this property. It's 5101 South Cliff Avenue, Sioux Falls, so just south of Hy-Vee there on Cliff.
Sir, would you state your name and address from Wells Fargo, please?
If you're talking to me here,
Yes.
my name is Henry Beck. I represent Wells Fargo in this case, and the property here is at 5101 Cliff Avenue, Sioux Falls.
Thank you. It's your turn to address the commission with your appeal.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, first of all. I just wanted to point out a couple things. Generally, I don't think the assessment for this is out of line. It means I just do think that. Sorry about that. I just do think that given some of the asking rents we're seeing in the area, in a range from $15 to $23 per square foot, current asking rents. If we were treating this property like it had to attract a new tenant, which we would do in a fee simple first year situation. We're seeing this the asking rents. Asking rents are rarely signed rents. In other words, you ask for more than you can get. We've also seen cap rates rise across the market in recent times, in the last year especially. So just given those two inputs on an income approach to value, I think we can kind of point to the value probably being closer to 1.3 million, something in that range. As just the market has softened because of rising interest rates, which affect our capitalization rates. That paired with the asking rents that we are currently seeing in the area. Like I said, nothing ridiculous. I just do think the property is slightly overassessed. I think it'd be fair to say that in the straight market value of almost every retail property has fallen slightly over the last year or two as cap rates have risen. So that's basically the claim we have on the property. Like I said, I don't think anything's ridiculous here. I think the assessment's probably spot on for the previous year or two. That's why we didn't appeal them. But yeah, just as we look forward with the changing situation, it's appropriate that these values fall slightly. And we've seen that throughout the market, throughout the nation, and throughout plenty of places in South Dakota. Sioux Falls is no exception. When we're talking about capitalization rates and we're talking about interest rates, there's nobody that's immune to them. This is the cost of money. So that's the point I wanted to make for these properties here.
Okay. Anything else that we should take into consideration, sir?
No, I mean, I kind of made my point in my initial appeal
Okay.
here. There are some properties around that have sold comparable for less. There's no perfect comparable that I was able to find that's really a smoking gun in this case. So in an effort to not waste everyone's time, I'll kind of,
Okay.
that's all I've got to say.
Thank you, sir. You've heard from the spokesperson for the Wells Fargo, and we've had our thing from Carla. It's time for some action here, gentlemen. So what action do we want to take on this appeal?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adopt the assessor's recommendation.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion from Commissioner Aaron's and second from Commissioner Poppins to accept the project or uphold what our assessor has for this particular property. Christine, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes, motion carries. We have second item, Carla, on Wells Fargo.
That is correct. The second Wells Fargo. Our next appeal is parcel number 280.57.01.001. It's located at 3610 Avera Drive in Sioux Falls. It's owned by Wells Fargo Bank. It is a financial institution. It was built in 2006. A good quality construction in normal condition. It does have 5,040 square feet total square footage. The lot size is 73,761. Our assessment went out at 1,889,187. We are recommending no change. The subject property is within the market value. The building is less than the comparable banks, and the subject has a larger lot than the comparables. Our assessment equity are also financial institutions in Lincoln County. We do show a couple properties that have sold in Lincoln County. One was a bank in Beersford, sold for $1.3 million in April of 2023. There was a property in Minnehaha County sale that was also a bank that sold for $2.2 million, but that was 2021, late in 2021. And we also had an office that we felt was very similar to the subject property that sold for $1.25 million in January of '23. Per square foot for the total property, and then a breakdown of the building only is listed on page 4. When we look at the 3 approaches to value, for the entire property, the subject property is coming in at $375 a square foot. The building alone is $189 per square foot. We broke that down individually. You've seen that, throughout the entire appeal process, because sometimes that total valuation includes a larger lot. So we wanted to break that down specifically. The subject property does come in over the comparables because of the excess lot. I recognized that early on during the presentation. Our cost comparables are coming in between $278 and $306 per square foot. The building only is $190 to $211 per square foot. The market is indicating a market range between $270 and $485 per square foot. Again, our map shows where our assessment equity properties are located. The map, it's on the northwest corner of the map. Our comps are highlighted in blue that are just throughout Lincoln County. Our sales of properties, again, sale number 1 was in Beersford. Our comp 2 of the sales was located in Minnehaha County, and our third comp is just to the west of the subject property. With that, I will stand by for any questions.
Thank you, Carla. Sir, it's your turn to address the commission on the second appeal you have.
Sure. Thank you again. I want to ask a couple quick questions. I don't have your sales comparables in front of me here. What were the per square foot values of the sales comparables?
Would you repeat that question?
The per square foot sales prices on those comparables. I'm sorry.
Per square foot, so our first property.
It was a Wells Fargo bank in Beersford, South Dakota. It sold for $270 a square foot.
Thank you.
And the others?
$485 per square foot. That was in Minnehaha County, so just right across the county line, because Sioux Falls does have 2 counties. One is Minnehaha and one is Lincoln.
Yep.
And those were the
And what
only.
was the 485? What type of property was that?
It's a multi-tenant property, so there's a bank on one end, and then there's either another one or two occupants also leasing space in that building. But
What are
it
the-
does have
what are
like the
the tenants?
portico for the drive-through.
Oh, sure. Who are the tenants, if you don't mind me asking? That just seems an extremely high number for. I mean, we wouldn't see that in downtown Minneapolis.
TCF Bank is the bank tenant. I can't read the second tenant's sign. And our third comp was an office comparable. We felt like it was sort of similar in quality, and we just didn't have any other bank sales we could find in the area.
There was a bank building that sold at 1742 South Cliff. That might be the one on the end of that mall you're talking about. I think it was a 3-tenant building. It has the drive-through portico and all that stuff. It's fully equipped to be a bank building. It's around the same size as our subject here. It's a little bigger. That sold for. I was able to find that at $168.44 per square foot, $170 a foot. I thought that was a pretty comparable property. The 485 gives me real pause, just because my guess is something that's that's transacting for $485 a square foot is including a significant amount of lease valuation in that sales price. In other words, I've got a triple net national tenant. I'm not going to lose them. You're buying the lease as well as the building in that, and I wouldn't consider that a fair market transaction for valuing a building. Listen, that being said, I do think this is one of those things where, similar to the other one, I don't think we're asking for the moon here. The initial ask was $1.4 million as opposed to what it is now at 1.9. 374 a square foot on a bank building. That's tough, and I think that's including again some including of the lease value in the valuation of the property here, which would make it more of a lease fee approach than anything. Focusing on the fee simple first year buyer type of situation, I think that we're a little high on that, especially given that we're seeing valuations rise year over year on this building. $365 a square foot, $370 a square foot. Now we're at $375 a square foot. Well, cap rates are rising, and rents are not rising at the same speed that they are. So to raise the valuation of these buildings, the assessment of these buildings, while institutional things are pointing the value down, I just don't think that's entirely supportable. That being said, we're not asking for the moon here. A slight reduction, I think, is in line with what we're seeing in the market, unless there's some cap rate data coming out of specifically Sioux Falls, South Dakota that I'm not seeing. I've got a couple different sources here pointing to cap rates 7.6, 7.4. I actually put a 7 cap rate on this, which is assuming that this property is performing far better than the market. And I'm still at $1.4 million. So I think, a haircut on it, I think, is warranted. So, yeah, that's it. I can see the rest of my time here, or cede the rest of my time. This is in Congress, but you know what I mean.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
Sir?
Mr. Chair, I got a
Yes.
motion. Value of the land at $938,568. Value of the building at $930,619.
For a total of?
Whatever that math is. Basically a $20,000 reduction from the total assessed value of $1.889187.
The total value would be $1,869,187.
Yes.
187.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Aaron's, second by Commissioner Poppins, to reduce the overall value by $20,000, or bringing the grand total to $1,859,187.
69.
69.
69, excuse me.
1869.
1869.
1869. Okay, sorry about that.
Yep.
Will Kristen call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you all. I appreciate it very much. Hopefully we'll talk to you next year.
Yes, okay.
All right. Have a great day.
3-minute break.
Let's take a 3-minute recess, please. Item number 16, the Brenner LLC, Brenner number 4. Are calling in?
There is no RSVP.
Then nothing.
No.
Okay. So we'll go through the motion, Carla.
Our next appeal is parcel number 280.58.02.005, located at 5,000 South Broadband Lane in Sioux Falls. It's owned by Brenner, number 4 LLC. It is a multi-use office building. It was built in 2007. The grade is above, or actually very good quality, missing some features to call it a true very good quality. The total square footage is 33,475 square feet. It does have 2 stories. There is also lower level. Oh, hi there.
We were just getting
Just getting started. The lot size is 84,005 square feet. Sent out an assessed value of $5,744,651. It was a slight increase from last year's value. The majority of the change is in the lot value itself. We did some land studies for 24 assessment year. Our assessors are recommending no change as it's equally assessed with like properties and it's below the current market sales. We did review all the information supplied by the appellant. We do show some sales of similar type properties in Lincoln County. 2 are current 2023 sales and 1 was in '22, but it was during our assessment year because it was after November 1, 2022, so it's considered our '23 study. Per square foot, our subject property is coming in at $172 per square foot. The range using our assessed values or the cost approach to value is between $171 and $227 per square foot. The market is indicating a market range between $184 and $226 per square foot. This is our commercial office overall median for our assessment versus sale price. So we're right in between the 85 and 97. We called about 92% overall median for our office facilities. Overall for our, so 91.6. Our subject property is located in the northwest corner of the map, and our comparable properties are in blue, all in Lincoln County. With that, I will stand by for any questions.
Any questions for Carla? If not, thank you. Sir, would you state your name and your address for the record, please?
Yeah, you want my home address or?
Yes, that'd be
Okay.
fine.
Brian Grady, 1312 West Stonegate Drive, Sioux Falls.
Okay, Brian, it's your turn to address the commission with your appeal.
Okay, Carla, did they get what I gave to you?
So if you submitted any information,
At the local board, I gave you
no,
this.
we don't
Okay.
supply that, whatever the local board, that's,
You mind if I
yeah.
hand them out real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good morning.
Morning, Brian. Thank you for coming.
So for this particular property, it is, the argument, it's strictly, and here, do you have a copy of that? Strictly being fairly assessed in comparison to peer properties, and the ones that you have in front of you, I'm very familiar with. And they're multi-tenant office buildings, underground parking, very similar in pretty much every form and fashion. I would say the one property would be maybe a little superior, the Oak Brook, from a visibility standpoint, because you can see those off of Interstate 229. But other than that, I'm averaging the square footage of those three properties from a gross building square foot standpoint and also a per square foot standpoint for the land, and just asking that it be equalized to those properties.
It looks in your presentation that the big disparity is just in the land valuation.
That's the most significant part of it.
So
Absolutely.
Carla, let's talk about the land that they reside on versus our comps versus the three properties that he had presented, if we could.
So the subject property is located in the Solberg Business Park. We've got a model for all the properties that are in the Solberg Business Park. The Oak Brook office buildings are located outside that development, and we are using a different model for that property. So that's the difference. They're both similar in the setup of the model, having a tiered system with slightly different numbers in those two tiered systems. That model is $14 a square foot for the first acre in the Solberg Business Park where the subject property is located. It's $7 a square foot for the second acre and $4 a square foot for any remaining land. And I'll check on the Oak Brook property quick. That model is $9 a square foot for the first acre, $6 a square foot for the second acres, and anything remaining is $3 a square foot. And those models were based on the recent sales we had in each of those areas. U.S. Property Group, the third comp provided, is also outside the subject properties development area. That lot is a front lot, or it has frontage against the street. And that one's at $10 a square foot for the first acre, $9 a square foot for the second acre, and $6 a square foot for the remaining acres or acres.
And is that accurate? The 941 is the average on that then?
Average of the three comps? Is that what
No. Average of the tier. That's, he had presented, you had said the U.S. property, that is accurate. Have you verified that that's accurate? Or would you, please?
Yep, I can say the third comp is, the land is 841,470 as indicated on his analysis. Appears the first comparable also has an accurate land value stated, so I would assume the third one is accurate as well, or the second one, excuse me. this is looking at it on an average basis.
Yep.
And, we decided that the tiered system or model worked more effectively and more accurately against our sales. So that's the difference between these two approaches, our approach and the appellant's.
Commissioners, the 10-minute time limit has elapsed. If we have no more questions, we would appreciate to take some action here. Is there any other comments you want to make, or anything else for us to take under consideration?
Just to reiterate what I said, I'm just looking to have it equalize with comparable properties.
Okay,
I totally understand that they have models they're working with.
okay. Thank you. Commissioners, we have now elapsed our time, as I indicated. Is there any motion that you would like to make to address this appeal?
Of course, I had it, and I hit the wrong button. I do have a motion, if you bear with me for 30 seconds.
You bet. We thank you for coming down, sir. We've been at this quite a while.
My apologies for being a few minutes late.
No. The process is one that is labor intensive on the part of our assessor's office. And can be frustrating for the taxpayers as well.
So I would like to place, and Ethan, help me out, I'm gonna ask you, because my calculator seems to be malfunctioning, placing the land at a $9.3 per square foot.
I guessed pretty close to what you were gonna put in, but I was off a few cents.
But I'm getting a way wrong number when I'm punching into my calculator for some reason.
So the land value at $9.30 a square foot would be $781,247.
Yeah, I'm coming up with $5 million, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm punching in right at the moment, so I apologize for that. And then I would leave the structure the same.
For a total of $5,632,943.
Correct.
Ethan, say that again, 5 million what?
$5,632,943.
Okay. Commissioner Poppins, you have a motion to?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Poppins to reduce the land to $9.30 a square foot, which would bring the land to $781,247, keeping the building the same, which would then put the total at $5,632,943.
Thank you, I found my error.
Okay. Do we have a second for that?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Aaron's. Kristen, we have a motion and a second. Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries 3-0. Any other issues we want to address?
We got one more.
We got one more.
Yeah.
Oh,
If
I
it's
got
up.
one more here. I got Lloyd Properties on here. It's okay.
I'll give you back your space when I'm done.
Okay. And you're representing the Lloyds as well?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Our
Carla,
next,
I'm gonna interrupt if I can. Given the
Yes.
information that you had been given, are you going to have a recommendation for us?
I'm going to give you a couple options.
Because I'm just trying to, so for his information, you had presented, or someone had presented some information to the office.
Yes.
I want to verify if you want to have that public, or if you're asking that it be kept private within the office.
The appraisal.
Yeah, well, does the entire appraisal need to be public or just?
That's what I'm-
select
Yep.
pages?
I think if it's either in an entirety for us to look at it, but if she's looked at it and the staff's looked at it and they have a recommendation based on it, otherwise, if we're trying to evaluate, we're going to have to see the whole thing.
I'm fine with being public if that's.
Okay,
the case.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm not sure how to get it public because it was just sent to my personal email.
Oh. You'll have to print it. That's why Carlo, that's why I'm hoping you have a recommendation.
It's 125 pages, which is why I didn't bring a printed copy.
Gotcha. Have you had a chance to evaluate? I apologize, it's
Yeah.
just,
I understand what Commissioner Poppins is trying to do.
Yep.
So, Carla, you said you had a couple of options for us?
Right, so there are a couple of approaches that were considered in the appraisal, the appraisal company that did the appraisal. When they did their reconciliation of values, they chose an approach that I would have chosen differently. And for the reasons that we're trying to uphold a market valuation system. The two approaches that were considered were the income and the sales approach to valuation. On the document recently provided, come up with an income approach at $6,220,000. And using the market in the analysis would result in a value of $6,760,000. I think the credibility would stand, and the question could be asked is, if you were gonna sell it,
I'm going
which
to cut to the
approach
chase.
would you
I'm going to cut to
choose?
the chase real quick,
Yes.
if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
We have been very lenient when someone presents an official appraisal. Do you believe when you've reviewed this document, it's an official appraisal?
Yes.
Can you then just present to us at this time what that appraisal was for the land and for the building?
I don't believe it has a breakdown, it just has a total valuation.
Okay, then give us the
Of
total.
$6,220,000 was the final reconciliation of value.
Given that in the document, he actually values the land higher than what the assessor has, I would leave the land at the $984,150, and the remainder being the structure. And I'm not trying to take anything away from you, but if you're in agreement to this, then that we might be able to expedite it. So,
So $5,235,850 would be the structure.
okay, that would be my motion if you're ready for a motion.
Do you,
The total is 6,220,000.
Yep. Is there anything you'd want to say before?
Is that an agreeable figure?
It is, I mean, well,
Yep.
yeah, I can expand upon that, but
Nope,
I
if-
don't want to waste your time.
No, I think you're getting and giving you an official, that would be my motion.
We have a motion from Commissioner Poppins to put that at the assessment value of $6,220,000.
Yes.
You know, when you get what you want, shut up and leave. So with that, I'll second it.
We have a second by Commissioner Aaron's. Kristen, do you want to go through the breakdown so we have that on an official record of what that $6,220,000 is if we break down the land, or do you want to leave it at one lump sum?
No, it'd be 984,150 on the land, correct me if I say this wrong, 5,285,000 on the structure.
That being said,
5 million what for the structure?
285, is that what you had said? I didn't,
5,235,850.
Oh, there we go. 850. Thank you for the correction on the structure.
That being said, Kristen, please call the roll.
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. We thank you for coming
Thank you.
down. Thank you for your input.
Take care. If you have any other questions, the document, the totals in the public record, otherwise the rest will stay up with her office.
Okay.
Thank you.
That concludes motion to recess.
Move to recess till 1 o'clock.
Second.
Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, we're in recess.